And we're on.
We're rolling. All right. Welcome back. Another exciting, fun-filled episode of Some Guy and John. I'm John, and this is
some guy with
Rachel.
Here I am.
There's Rachel.
Yet again.
That's right. She's back.
I mean, really, this podcast should be called Some Guy and John, and most of the time Rachel, with some other guests sometimes.
I don't know if that would fit on the YouTube title.
it would fit. It'd be a lot.
It'd be a very long title.
It'd be, what's this about? What's the title of the podcast?
Yeah.
Some Guy and John and some guys and girls. I don't know.
Okay, we'll just
Some Guy and John and Rachel. That works.
I guess, but
we could change it.
It does
to
sound like a '90s sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like, Rachel works at a magazine, and we live above a pizza parlor in like Brooklyn or San Francisco.
Anyway.
So I'll stop developing a TV show for 20 years ago.
Back on target.
Tonight's
movie is not King Kong
No.
because they can't use the word.
No, they can't.
Kong, Skull Island.
Well, because King Kong is Universal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
while they can say, and they do a few times in the movie, Kong is king here, they cannot flip that around and say...
I thought they said he was God here.
He was the God
They
here,
say
but
both.
They do say both?
Kong is king around
They're
there.
just crafty Warner Brothers. Got to sneak it in there.
And he's a good king.
He's a good.
Yeah.
That's right. He did say that.
A benevolent king.
Oh, John C. Reilly.
John C.
As
Reilly.
soon as I saw him in the trailer, I'm like, yep, seeing this.
So, basic premise?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, basic premise. It's the same people who... It's a survivor of the boat that tried to kill Godzilla.
Right. It's the same
From the
actor.
most recent
The same actor?
Godzilla movie.
That actor wasn't named. That actor didn't exist
It
because
wasn't.
this is even farther back.
Because
the premise of the nuclear testing in the Pacific after World War II was nuclear testing, but they were actually trying to kill Godzilla.
Right.
So...
And he...
Well, listen, I just recently rewatched the 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I remember why I liked it, but I didn't love it. It's because I really didn't give a shit about the characters, and everything was so dark I could barely see Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest bummer. He's behind haze and clouds, and I'm like, you guys just couldn't pop for the special effects. You just don't want to admit it.
It was the director's style.
I didn't
We're
really get
very far off target, and we're like 3
it
minutes into this thing.
It is because Monarch,
Okay,
the company, is in
the government group that's researching all of this.
You got it. Is in the 2014 movie.
Yeah.
And
this is the sequel to Godzilla.
It is the
prequel because it happens before.
It's a prequel, because this one happens, like in the early 70s.
Happens in 73.
The year I was born, 1973.
There you go.
The end of the Vietnam War. That's slightly important.
It is
to the plot. Yeah.
This was shot way differently, and I liked it a lot better because I could actually see King Kong.
Yeah.
And any other monsters that happen to grace the screen.
Yeah.
I like that, and the cast was just... I knew everybody in the cast. Everybody was a good actor, and there were some really funny parts of the movie too.
Yeah.
But
there weren't very many unintentionally funny
but you see, here's the thing.
Exactly.
And this is funny.
Here's the thing. I didn't know this was going to be a prequel, a follow-up to the 2014 Godzilla. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe you did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that going in.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're going to see a studio take a whack at King Kong. All right, very cool. I knew, it's not Universal, so they got to call Kong. Big deal. All right, let's see it. And then they kept saying Monarch. I'm like, I know this vaguely from the 2014 Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, they tied together.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they made enough money off of the Godzilla movie. Because they spent a fortune on it. I didn't know they made enough money but they started a whole new franchise. Mm-hmm. I didn't know they were doing that. I thought that was a one-off and this was another one-off, but guess not. It's tied in.
It's tied in because they're gonna have...
they're planning a Kong versus Godzilla in 2020.
Well, if Warner Brothers is going to do anything, as we know, it's putting two
and I'm
characters pitted against each
I'm
other.
wondering if they'll do it like they did the original where there's two different endings.
I hope so.
Where the Asian market gets the Godzilla wins and the American market gets the King Kong wins.
I kind of hope so.
Or the third one where it's kind of ambiguous.
I mean, if we're gonna do that,
yeah.
I'm gonna root for the hometown boy. You know, I mean, like I always love me some Godzilla.
I'm always.
But this movie, this Kong movie, I'm kind of like, now I kind of want to see Kong do it. You know. But
I want to see it be a draw, and they decide that they both have the same job, just they do it differently.
So basically, Batman versus Superman again.
No, that movie was horrible.
It was a draw after he said the word Martha. Anyway, the basic premise is we're gonna redo the Kong story. Only we're gonna do
We're gonna redo the Kong origin story.
Yes,
and we're gonna frame it at the end of the Vietnam War. And our big modus for getting things done is, minor spoilers, but it's in the first 10 minutes. We don't want the Russians to get there first. Now
to this uncharted island.
Now we have satellite mapping.
It's the uncharted island. It's surrounded by storms. Nobody ever can get through it.
Yeah, and it's legend because everybody avoids it.
But,
so that's how
but now we have satellites.
Thousands of years.
Yeah,
Every civilization has directed their trade routes around it.
Yeah.
Thousands of years. But now we have satellites in orbit that can look down and they spot this island. They can see it in the center of this like perpetual storm.
Right. Yeah, which is interesting in and of itself.
Whatever, that's cool. It's a monster movie. I don't care. It's cool. And they finally say, "Well, we have the machinery. We can fly into it and get through it."
And now that the Vietnam War is over, we have this entire platoon that's all helicopter pilots who can get us in there.
We have this arsenal of air cav Hueys and a platoon or two that can get us, that can provide security while we go and investigate what's on this island.
And a Samuel L. Jackson who is sort of disillusioned and bummed that the Vietnam War is over, so he's happy to take on another project for his team.
I was unfortunately getting some major pain vibes off of him when he just kind of major pain.
Oh, I don't.
It's a
as
horrible
in the movie
Major Pain.
Oh, I liked it.
I loved it too.
I liked Major
because he had this
Pain.
attitude.
It was a terrible movie, but I love that movie.
He had this attitude. There must be somebody somewhere
that
needs
some killing.
Yeah, because that's exactly how Samuel Jackson was.
Got to be somebody there that needs some killing. No, I'm sorry, Payne. You killed them all.
There must be somebody. Yeah.
That whole montage in the beginning of the movie, he's basically like almost comically killing all the enemies of America without any like effort.
Yeah, and then he's got that. They have this one specific scene. I'm going to say the first 20 minutes don't count when we talk about him as spoilers.
Okay.
Where he's in his office and everything gets really dark for some reason. And he's just sitting there and you're
are you talking about Samuel Jackson or Major Payne?
I'm talking about the shot in the movie.
Yeah.
Which is sitting in his office.
Kong. Right?
Kong, okay, good.
And everything gets really dark. Yeah. And then the movie goes on.
Yeah.
There were some.
I will have to say there was a lot of stuff that I'm watching and I'm like, somebody fucked up in editing. We're here, and then all of a sudden we're someplace else.
Yeah, there were a few.
Just a couple of those.
Weirdly
edited I got the impression a lot of things were cut for time.
Yeah, I did.
I got the impression there was a lot of the studio Warner Brothers, as we know, are very
special edition.
Well, but Warner Brothers is very edit happy these days. They re-edit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what movie were we watching?
Yeah.
This basically is a really long trailer.
Back to the basic premise. They go and explore this island.
Yeah. Scientist team and the military team.
There's Monarch, there's a scientist team, and there's a soldier escort. And the scientist team and the soldier escort.
We have Tom Hiddleston, who is the tracker.
He is the retired British Special Forces guy that just happens to be hanging around in Vietnam.
Well, I would say he came with the British to Vietnam and became disillusioned.
I think so. Probably something really good. But he knows his way around the
Brie
jungle.
Larson is the
photographer.
She's a combat photographer who's making a huge name for herself.
Who is inexplicably attractive.
And who, in a move that puzzles all of the other characters, they keep asking her about it. Yeah. She decides to forgo something that could get her, like she's
so that was
going to
get her
a Pulitzer. But she wants to go get this because she thinks it could be brand new. It could get her a Pulitzer.
She could film and document the evacuation.
Right.
The retreat, the withdrawal from Vietnam, which every reporter did.
Right.
Yeah.
Between 73 and 75, every reporter was trying to do that because it was big news.
But instead she
says
decides
no.
She wants to go to this island.
Which says all kinds of interesting things about her.
Yeah, she says this very specific thing. When 3 different sources tell you the exact same thing, you know something else is going on.
Right.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm quote unquote an artist, and I just want to get it the
Like
truth.
this is going to be more interesting
Yeah.
one way or another, and
Yeah.
it turns out to be way interesting. And of course, they get to the island and they run into Kong
Right away.
like almost right away. Yeah, but you know what? That's fine.
And this
Yeah, no, I'm
movie's like-
glad we didn't have to wait.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
movie's
it's
like
not-
the opposite of Godzilla
Yeah.
because
Well,
you get
yeah.
Kong
Godzilla
in the first 5 minutes.
It takes different. Well,
Right, yes.
which
In the-
God?
in the
Yeah,
first-
but which Godzilla? The 2014 one. It took like an hour before we
Yeah.
finally saw Godzilla.
That's
oh,
his point.
studio wise.
1998 with Matthew Broderick. We saw him pretty quick. You hate that movie. You roll your eyes.
I love that
I
movie because
disgustingly-
it's so bad.
I disgustingly love that movie because it's so much fun to watch. That stupid movie.
That movie is so bad that you can get an HD copy of it off of YouTube.
Yeah, it comes from the same people who gave us Independence Day. Like
Yeah.
the same director, same
Yeah.
writer, everybody.
Yeah.
And it's got Matthew Broderick getting chased by Godzilla
Yeah,
in
because
New York.
Independence Day did so well.
In the
they were like,
90s.
do whatever you want.
Yeah, with half the cast of The Simpsons in backup. Like,
And it
I don't
had-
know. It's
yeah.
for me. That's a fun popcorn movie to watch. I don't have to think about that movie
There's
at all
a-
and enjoy it. I
there's
know everybody
a-
hates it. It's guilty
there's
pleasure.
a-
I love that movie.
There's a Godzilla movie called Godzilla Final Wars where that Godzilla
Yes.
pops up,
Oh yeah.
and it would take me longer to describe his scene in the movie than his actual scene in the movie because he goes out like a bitch and
Oh,
gets
God.
killed off like instantly. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we are tying in, and the studio's gonna time in, so we're definitely gonna see Godzilla and Kong again.
Yeah.
which is great because I really like this movie. I really like this.
Yeah,
movie.
it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was really
It
fun.
was really
Yeah.
fun to watch, and this was like the ultimate popcorn movie.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I say
So
it's like
far.
the opposite of the
Like
Godzilla
2000
movie because that one was so serious.
I know, but 2017
And kinda so
this is
dour.
2017.
And
This,
this movie's
is the most fantastic popcorn movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so much fun.
It's just super fucking fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's just like the times you're supposed to laugh, you laugh your head off. The times you're supposed to be scared, you get scared shitless. The
Yeah.
times you're
Like
supposed
I was
like-
actually considering going and seeing it again before we did the podcast.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I'm down. I'm totally.
I
down to
honestly,
seeing it again, but
I honestly
it was
would not mind seeing this movie again. And I know this movie currently, as it stands right now, March 2017, which is what we're in right now, it has to be. I haven't checked, but it has to be getting slayed by Logan right now because everybody's seeing Logan.
I'm sure.
I've seen lines for Logan. Nobody is seeing Kong. The theater that we went to go see it in.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't it like opening day that we saw it.
It was. We saw it opening night. and
Opening
it
night. There was
uh,
nobody in the theater. There was like 20 people in a big theater.
Yeah,
There were in the big theater, the biggest one. There
it
was
did
like
have.
20 people.
It did have a lot of showings though.
Yeah, I know, but
It did.
we went to the
And remember
9:30.
that when we got our tickets, there were people ahead of us buying tickets for the 3D 9 o'clock and being told they were
Sure.
almost sold out.
Sure, fair enough, but I was surprised that 9:30 2D, which was fine. I didn't.
Well, see, this movie-
I would go back and see this one in 3D next time.
Yeah, I would
Well,
too.
this movie.
I think
will-
that'd be
this
awesome.
movie will pick up steam the same way Logan picked up steam.
I hope so because
'Cause everybody was like,
Also,
oh,
this would
it's-
have been a fun one to see in 4D.
yes, down in LA in 4D.
We still
We still
still
can.
could.
we got
Yeah.
well, we got to check the schedule because there's only that one theater and
Yeah, well,
But when
I'm
it's
sure
available,
playing there.
when it's available,
Yeah.
this would be a totally fun fucking movie to go see in 4D down in LA. Have the chair shake and
I'm actually
Water gets sprayed in
I'm
their
actually
face.
visualizing the first shot where they show Kong coming up over the cliff
it's awesome.
in 4D with the.
It's
fan
awesome. John
peeking up
C.
really
Reilly's
high to
character
their face, Yeah.
gets shot down as a fighter pilot in World War II, and he's stuck there with a Japanese fighter pilot that shot him down. They shot each other down.
Yeah, they instantly realize there's bigger problems.
And
in this
they're
than
about to
war,
kill
yeah.
each other, and then Kong shows up on
Yeah.
this uninhabited island that they land on, and they were like, "Oh shit! I guess we're buddies now because we're going to be running away from Kong for the rest of our lives."
But I'd say.
And it's John C. Reilly who's like crazy by the time the 30 years go by, and our team from circa 1973 shows up to investigate
I'd
the
say
island.
let's end the
It's awesome.
non-spoiler with minor spoilers section. Just say, good movie, go check it out. It's
Yeah.
for the year so far. It's
As
one
it
of the
stands
most
right now,
fun movies.
Yeah, and
it's just really
and for
fun.
that. I mean, I refer to it as strictly. This is an absolute popcorn movie.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
got everything.
Yeah.
It'll scare you at times, and you'll laugh your head off at times.
Yeah, yeah.
The effects are just ridiculously funny looking.
Yeah.
Because you know it's bullshit because it's King Kong.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
don't try crazy over the top
they don't
to make you think this giant monkey actually exists.
Yeah, no.
There's none of that where they're going way over the top to make you believe this is actually happening in real life or this could actually. They don't even bother.
No,
they
don't bother.
They just keep it fun.
But
which is exactly what they should do. Because
Kong is playing at 4DX in LA right now.
Oh, awesome!
They make him look shockingly real, though.
Yeah, they do.
And that's what's great.
They do,
but
for like the fight scenes and shit between Kong and the, like these other things that are on the
straight
island.
up monster fight scenes.
It is straight up, and monster fight scenes are just ridiculously awesome.
And somebody at the studio.
It's like the old Nintendo game Rampage.
Somebody at the studio listened and listen to everybody bitching about fight scenes with things are too up close and I can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, I hate
they
that.
stood way back and let you see everything that was going on.
And you see what that and they see
every single move and every single step.
And this is where they went fucking ape shit serious with the Godzilla movie,
Yeah.
the 202014 Godzilla.
Yeah, because they did a lot of close-ups.
Yeah, they did close-ups, and everything was super fucking dark, like it was Cloverfield. It was crazy dark. You couldn't see anything, and that's what, like I said, makes me think we couldn't afford the effects the way we wanted it to do it, so we just made everything look really dark. I don't really mean that, but that's what it seems like.
It's the director style and the.
I hated it.
This is how much money you have because we're taking a big chance on bringing Godzilla back.
It was way too serious. Yeah, well, that chance. I mean, I don't know. This Kong was as almost campy as, and I know you hate it, and I keep bringing it up, the 1998 Godzilla movie. It was about as campy as that, but guess what? I could see Godzilla the entire time. Like all of him, he was doing wacky shit that didn't make any sense.
That's actually not Godzilla. It's called Zilla.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
The poster says Godzilla.
In the canon of the Godzilla universe,
changed it.
It's called Zilla because that's
I know.
not Godzilla.
No, I know, whatever. But it's still, the movie was called Godzilla. They changed it after the fact. All right, like You Never Say Never Again, the James Bond movie starring Sean Connery as 007, but it's not James Bond, and it's totally a James Bond movie.
Yeah, this isn't James Bond.
But because United Artists didn't make it and sanction it, it's not considered a James Bond, even though he played James Bond. Doesn't count, you know. And it's like that. No, I get it, but you know what? I don't give a shit. That's just a version of Godzilla, as far as I'm concerned. They can go
it's a version
and rename it. He calls it Gojira in the movie. Yeah. The Japanese guy calls it Gojira, and then they say, "What did he say?" I think he said Godzilla. Okay, let's call it Godzilla. Like, they don't call him Zilla in the movie. You know, there's a whole little line of dialogue about what his name is. So they can say, "Oh, it doesn't count. It's not like the cheesy effect ones from the 60s, and those are canon." You can say that if you want, but that was a popcorn movie.
That was totally a popcorn movie.
Kong is a popcorn movie.
And the funny thing about this,
I have fun watching
We're way off target, though. Here's the funny thing.
No,
the beginning of the Godzilla
I think we're speaking
2004,
to the soul of this movie.
The Godzilla 2014 movie, and the Godzilla movie you're talking about with Matthew Broderick, both kind of have the same opening.
They do.
With the black and white nuclear test footage showing shit. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
in the Godzilla 2014, they're trying to kill him, and that they're showing the effects of nuclear.
98 is showing where Godzilla came from. 2014, they're showing we just found this thing because the Earth is hollow.
Yeah.
Because
we're in
the new storyline is the Hollow Earth.
There's the Hollow Earth with pockets of undeveloped, untouched parts of.
It's the same thing Earth. You saw if you saw the 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which is the Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah, Godzilla's just kind of hanging out till
him and these other monsters have been incubated in these
the
hollow pockets.
Protectors of the Earth,
which is bullshit because all they do is fight each other. Anyway, we're going with that, and this is also one of those things where, you know, Kong exists on an island and he's fighting against a lot of these monsters that live in this hollow pocket of Earth that are crawling their way out. They happen to be crawling out on this island. That's where Kong happens to be. Do we explain where Kong come from?
Kong came from his parents.
Yeah, it's not explained.
There's the skeletons of his
it's explained through Monarch, ancient species who have been around for millions of years.
They somehow
made Kong
with nuclear weapons.
No, no.
It's
Well,
almost-
Godzilla wasn't made with nuclear weapons in this.
Ah,
movie.
98 he
just
was.
ancient.
2014 he was
but
ancient.
Now he was just ancient.
Yeah, I know.
He was just
We're
ancient
going with
species,
ancient in
species
this
that
one.
evolved.
We're going with ancient,
Yeah.
so we're going to go with
Yeah.
the fact that Kong is also ancient. Yet he is now above ground fighting everybody that comes out after him. Up to,
Because this one island has
above
been
ground.
untouched by
I guess.
By humans. Well,
mankind.
Well, there's
Well,
a civil.
except-
Industrialized mankind
Yeah.
with all
There's
the
a-
face tattoos
There's
that
a
were never explained.
primitive species
Yeah.
of people there.
the Iwi.
The Iwi.
Yeah.
Exactly. All kinds of wacky face tattoos who don't
Who
really
never
talk.
speak.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
speak. And they have
All we know
learned
is
to.
that they
they-
worship Kong.
They worship
as a
Kong 'cause-
god.
Yeah, and they
Kong
have like
protects them.
a Star Trek society where they're above all
Well,
personal
yeah.
possessions. They're all
They're
communal.
enlightened.
They're all like
they're,
hippies.
They're
yeah.
they're very enlightened.
Well,
Yeah.
And the communal.
but it was almost.
It's yeah.
I wasn't entirely sure if that line of John C. Reilly's was meant to be taken completely seriously, or if it was meant to be taken as like, yeah, this is what most white people think of most non-white societies that they don't get.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, look how awesome! Like, this guy's been living basically alone with this society for 28 years,
Yeah.
and he hasn't bothered to learn their language. It seems.
Well, they don't seem to have a language. Or maybe
True,
they don't seem
but-
they don't seem to speak. But whatever. They worship Kong because Kong protects them
Yeah.
from all
the
the
other
evil
monsters on the
thing
island,
monsters
yeah.
that are
Primarily-
coming out of this
Yeah.
ground.
These creepy ass albino
Like
giant lizard
things.
things.
Yeah.
They
that
were
come out
actually
of the
kind of cool
vents.
because they were 2 legs and a huge ass tail.
Yeah,
That
2
was
legs
good.
instead of 4, which was really cool. They looked like
Yeah.
giant Komodo dragons.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, what
yeah,
are these
yeah.
raptors? Are we brought in raptors somehow?
They
And they
were
kind
def-
of had like exposed skulls a little
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they didn't have, like, they almost didn't have eyes. Like, the eye sockets were sunken in
Yeah,
in
yeah,
some way. And at
They were
some
very,
point,
very monstery.
at
Yeah.
some point, they had a tongue like a chameleon's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could uncoil and snap something and pull it back in.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
They were cool. They were very well
scary,
done,
yeah.
scary.
No, the monsters are great.
Monster
Yeah.
movie, scary
No,
monsters.
it was. I mean, it's like seeing Mothra in Godzilla 2014. I thought that the way they did Mothra was scary as shit to
Yeah.
me.
They were like-
It was like, holy shit! I remember seeing Mothra in the old movies.
Yeah.
The way they're doing these monsters now, it's like they can really make them scary.
Yeah.
These ones, it was daylight most of the time.
Which was really cool.
But you know
Yeah.
what? I appreciate that
Because it meant you could
because
see what was happening.
yeah, all of
It
the
was
Godzilla
daylight
movie
and
was
wide
nighttime.
shots.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
So,
appreciate that. That's awesome. They spent the money on the effects. Let's
There's
see
all
it.
these cool animals on this island.
Yeah.
This was honestly one of my favorite parts of the movie, was seeing just all the different animals that have
Yeah.
evolved.
Yeah.
Giant spider.
So the giant ass spider
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
bamboo legs.
that was
Yeah.
super gross.
I-
That scene
I mean,
where he
he's-
almost ate a soldier.
Well, yeah. I like
Um,
the giant log.
I
or
like the
stick,
giant-
stick bug.
Yeah, and the stick bug was kind of like, what the fuck,
Yeah, the
a
stick
man?
log that someone
And he's like,
put
kinda
on turns
walked
out to be
away.
a giant stick bug.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
It looked like a cut down
Why are
redwood.
you sitting on
and,
me?
and it was
Yeah,
just, it was
what the fuck? What
yeah.
are you
also-
doing?
and it was
Yeah.
just annoyed. It wasn't upset.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
like, I'm leaving. You're
Yeah,
bothering me.
I'm outta
also
here,
the
yeah.
massive,
I don't eat
like,
people. I'm leaving.
house-sized water buffalo.
Yeah.
Who are
Yeah.
just totally peaceful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Just like, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. I gotta go back being a water buffalo.
Oh,
Yeah.
a helicopter fell on me. Help
Oh,
me get the
no.
helicopter off?
Ouch.
Okay, we're good.
All right, we're
Yeah,
good. I'm
yeah.
gonna take off. I gotta go be a water buffalo.
I gotta go sink back down into the water and look like
Right.
a weird little marsh island again.
Right, exactly. The-
Then there are these weird ass
oh, the
birds.
the birds.
that are like
yeah.
half bat, half dinosaur,
Yeah, yeah.
half.
Yeah, they had like
Creepy
serrated,
bird of
like
prey.
Yeah, they were like
beaks.
pterodactyls.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
very
they
pterodactyl
fucked that
like.
one
They were like
guy up.
pterodactyl.
Except that they bled blue. That
cares?
was kind of weird.
So that- I'll take it.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. I saw
And you
raspberry
did
icy coming out of their
occasionally-
veins.
You did occasionally see some extra large dragonflies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were sort of a
I-
set piece.
We
Yeah.
did not see the ants. Ants were mentioned.
Ants were
Yeah.
mentioned,
Giant
but we
ants
didn't
were
see
mentioned.
them.
I
I think
was-
they were probably cut for time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was hoping for like the giant ant at the end of Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I was hoping for something like that. Like, let's see the giant
Or
ants.
from like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Auntie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to see like the giant ant because John C. Reilly is like, oh, you hear that? It's like, I don't know, it sounds like a bird. No, that's an ant.
That's the giant ants.
That's
They
the
sound
giant
like
ants.
birds.
Yeah, they sound like birds, but they're giant ants. Don't worry. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Now we're gonna get giant ants, and then
and then
boom.
it cut. I think
And
that
then-
was one of those awkward editing moments.
Yeah, that was just
Just
cut
like when
to
he
the
was
scene.
talking about his friend, he's like,
Yeah.
he puts his hand on the grave, blah, 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 cut, we're all leaving that room.
Yeah.
was-
No, there
they-
were
they-
definitely
like,
a couple
what?
awkward.
Yeah.
They cut a few things out, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. I haven't seen the unedited cut, so I can't tell if they were good ideas or bad. But
But
there were definitely some cuts
I
in
really
this.
dug seeing all of the different because I like this is a weird nerding out.
It was kind of like a zoo.
biology nerding out moment, but
Dude, go for it.
I find the biology of species that have evolved in isolated environments really interesting.
yeah.
Because you do see bizarre
like
things.
bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Or like the things, all of the different creatures that are native to Australia.
Yeah.
Like, there's a rodent the size of a house dog. What?
Like-
Wombats? Like what?
Like that's a thing.
So I really
there's
liked that part of the
kangaroos
movie.
with pouches,
Well, yeah,
which
kangaroos.
is just like nowhere else.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
there's
no,
nowhere else.
marsupials don't exist
You're like,
outside of Oceania. Yeah, like, you give
Yeah.
birth, but they're not really born yet. Then they live
they
in.
gotta crawl
Yeah.
this certain distance inside the
Yeah.
pouch.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, in a monster movie, we get to play with all that.
Yeah, so I loved that
Awesome.
part.
Are you now into monster movies with me?
I can be, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't think this is a
I
genre.
mean, you saw me. I definitely got caught by a couple of those jump scares
Yes,
in the movie.
you did. I saw you leap next to me a few feet in the air.
Yeah.
Some of these jump scares, I'm like, okay, it all of a sudden got really quiet. It's coming. And I knew you knew it's coming. Didn't stop you from like hitting the ceiling when all of a sudden the
Well,
monster
because
showed
when they're
up.
at the temple, the first one that got me was when they're at the temple.
Okay.
There's like ruins of the temple,
Yeah.
and she's trying to take a picture, and all of a sudden we get the view through her viewfinder
Right, and
of what
like-
she thinks is just the wall,
and-
then
yeah.
you see an eye blink
Right.
because what you think is a wall is made up of these
Her
the iwi.
tattoos and their tattoos.
Yeah. That one was the first
That-
one where I jumped out of my seat and said,
you-
Jesus Christ.
You lost it, yeah. All right, now here's another thing that I think we all collectively, at least the three of us, that went.
Oh, also the giant
Wow.
squid. That's the other creature.
That
the giant
Kong
squid, yeah.
eats.
That was an amazing scene.
And you kind of looked like he was looking
He's just
for it,
annoyed
too.
by like,
Well,
come
no,
back here.
Because
Yeah.
Kong
I'm
is,
eating you.
he's been wounded by
Yeah.
all the helicopters. He's pissed off. He's walked into the river to bathe his wounds.
Yeah.
And then giant squid starts attacking him. And he's just like
God damn it.
irritated.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, God damn, like, really?
Well,
now?
yeah, well,
Fine. I guess I'm having calamari for dinner.
Yeah.
And just starts munching on it.
Yeah, he just wipes the floor with this thing. This massive squid. Like, forget 20,000 Leagues. This is way bigger than
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And just rips it apart. And he's like, no. Like beats it down like a redhead stepchild. And just like rips off tentacles, drags it back to wherever the hell he's going.
All while one of our helicopter pilots
He's
is
just watching.
hiding
He's like-
behind a rock in terror.
He's like, holy shit.
Just like, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, and they did do the, and I'd have to say it's one of the best single lines of setup for future movies.
What's that?
Kong's not done growing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, John
He's
C.
kind of a
Riley's
baby.
character
He's like, he's
tells
gonna
us
get,
that
he's gonna
Kong
get
is
a
actually
lot
immature.
bigger. Yeah, he's
So
kind
Guy-
of like a kid. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna tell him.
No,
I'm
don't
gonna
tell
him.
him. Well, don't tell him yet.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
we're in
There-
spoilers. Tell me.
There is, well, I
let me tell
read
him.
it. No, I'm not telling him that.
Oh.
Yeah. I read online. They talked about King Kong, and well, or maybe it was that you that maybe even told me. I know I read it too, but Kong in this movie is bigger than any other King Kong
that.
iteration
Yeah.
ever on screen.
Yeah.
He is bigger, and he's still like I guess an adolescent.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
still growing.
And
Yeah.
and I guess we know that because of the skeletons of his parents
Right.
that are dead.
Which we
Yeah.
do see. There's a
That are
a graveyard.
massive,
Yeah.
and they are presumably they do look bigger than him.
Yeah.
They do.
So he's not done growing. Kong
Yeah.
will get bigger.
Yeah.
So as big as they made Godzilla in 2014, Kong's gonna get that big. It
Yeah.
looks like he's gonna get that
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
And they also set up like backwards. He killed the big one that's on the island. That's the main
Right.
Yeah.
to him.
Right.
So he's kind of like just hanging out.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because he is, by the end of this movie, he has killed off the largest and most scary of the
Monsters. Yeah.
lizard things that don't really have a name. John C. Reilly's character calls them skull crawlers.
Skull crawlers.
But
That
then
sounds
as soon
stupid
as
when I
he
say it
says
out
it out
loud,
loud,
yeah.
he says, "It sounds stupid when I say it out loud. I've only
Yeah,
ever
just
said
call
that
him
in my
whatever
brain
you
before.
want, yeah.
Don't use that. Call him whatever you want."
Yeah, exactly.
John C. Reilly's character is predictably one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, and this is a movie
he
with
tried-
John
and-
Goodman in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from the trailer,
And Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
From the trailer, you would have thought he would have been kind of wacky.
Oh, and
kind
Brie
of
Larson
like-
and Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
John
but
C.
John C.
Reilly.
Reilly, like
Yeah.
him as
He helped make
the
this-
World War II pilot
Crazy
who's
vet.
been more or less stranded by
Well, you
himself
could-
on this island
like
for 28
when
years.
when you understand where his character comes from, you understand
Yeah.
why he's like that.
Right,
Yeah.
of course. Oh,
and
of
so you
course.
get these great conversations with,
Yeah.
they put a man on the moon. Really? They just leave him up there?
Yeah.
What are they eating?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
It's just-
apparently there's an end credit scene that we missed.
Yes.
Yes, so that's what we were going to tell
So
you.
we will
Yeah.
end up
Yeah.
So
next time we see it, we will.
apparently there is an end credit scene where Hiddleston and Brie Larson are getting interviewed by Monarch.
I don't.
And, sorry.
It's okay.
He doesn't want to know.
It's okay.
He doesn't want to know.
It's okay.
So we won't
Sorry.
spoil that.
I'm not upset.
All right, we
have
won't
you seen
spoil-
it?
No, we just
Okay,
read
so,
about it.
So we
But-
gotta see it.
but
We read about it
Oh,
and
still
we
wanna see
both
it.
went, "Oh no!" and we made fun of Guy for the fact that he always
always
likes to
stays
sit.
for it,
This we didn't think this was going to be a
And we
franchise.
like all three of us agreed, no, there couldn't possibly be an end credit
turned
scene
the
for
lights
this
on.
movie.
Why would they turn the lights on? You know, like, of course we're done.
So the next time we see it, we will stay
watch-
for the end credit
we'll
scene.
watch the end credit
Because there is
scene.
an end credit scene
But
that is
I'm
supposed to be
Yeah.
sort of integral in setting us up for what's going to happen in 3 years.
But 3 years?
2020 is when Godzilla vs. King Kong is coming out.
God, they're taking
I know.
forever.
Well, they took 3 years in between the Godzilla movie and this one, so
Why are they taking so long?
Well, it's fun because if they're starting on it now, they'll just make it that much of a better movie. Because you remember when we were all kids, movies used to take
true.
2 to 4 years.
Yeah, but now
Now they can pump them out, but what's the quality?
I don't know. Ask Marvel. I don't
Okay,
know.
what's the quality of most movies that they pump out?
We don't seem
in
to
a
have
year?
any problems with the Marvel movie.
Well-
I mean, yes,
Well, even
they,
those take
yes,
even those take 2 or 3 years because
They
they've
do.
already been planned.
because the ones that come out sort of in because think about it,
Yeah,
it's
but
the
they-
way that think about it, the way that Marvel does it is there are the main ones that are part of the Avengers world,
yeah.
and those come out close to every 2.5 years. The ones that come out in between are the more minor characters.
Which ones?
You get the Ant-Man, you get the Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
you
in
get
Avengers.
yes, but they're not the Avengers. They're not.
Yeah, but they're going into Infinity Wars. All these characters.
Yeah, but we're
Well,
talking
yeah, but
about
every character is going into
I know,
Infinity
but
Wars. They're
they're-
throwing.
I know, but
you
there isn't a Marvel movie since the Tony Stark showed up in 2008 that doesn't have something to do with the Avengers. They all have something to do with
True, but they're
and they're all
plotted
building.
out. They're plotted out in a very staggered, careful fashion.
Right, and Warner Brothers, okay, admittedly, are late to the party with the DC
I mean,
characters.
for all we know, the
But-
entire Avengers universe was plotted out after
first
Iron
Iron
Man,
Man.
Hulk were
Oh.
successes.
I think so.
So they just had to get made.
Maybe after Iron Man 2.
No, because they got end credit scenes at the end of Incredible Hulk.
Okay, so we're
At the
saying
end of
before
Iron
then.
Man.
Great.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that, okay, yeah, fine, but I would think that Warner Brothers would be keen to, all right, let's start making Godzilla versus Kong.
probably are already making it.
While we're releasing it, like they should be making it right, like a year ago. They should be making it.
Yeah, but they can take their time with this because
Or maybe they want to wait until
Okay.
all of these other franchises are done.
well, and at the same time,
Because think about it, like, what's the planned release date for Infinity Wars? 2018?
2018, 2019.
Yeah, but Warner Brothers.
Right?
And here's the thing too.
Okay.
Warner
What's
Brothers-
the planned release date for Justice League?
for
No,
Justice League.
I think that's this year.
That's this year.
Really?
This year.
Justice League is later this year?
Yeah, because Warner Brothers and / DC
Is
are
playing catch up.
Okay.
doing light speed to get these movies
But
out.
see that- okay,
because
the
they
thing-
want
Hey.
that's what I'm saying.
Godzilla and
Like,
King Kong fall completely outside of that because they're
they're not superhero movies.
Obviously, no.
they're
They're
up
monster
to like
movies.
what?
I get
They're
that.
up to like 60 years old, so people are gonna. There's
That
a whole
too.
group of people that just like it's King Kong. I'm gonna
That
go see
too.
the movie. It's Godzilla.
Yes.
I'm gonna go see the movie.
There's
It's
a whole
the
bunch-
newest one. I'm gonna go see that
There's
movie.
a whole bunch of people that have
Yeah.
never seen a monster movie in their life.
Yeah, who still want to go see it because it could be good.
Well-
So the rush isn't there so much.
Yeah, I know.
Take your time, make it good. Take your time, make it
The
good.
rush is there for me because I know they can do it with this
Well,
movie.
yeah, because Marvel spoiled us because they're up to 3 movies a year now,
I know.
and
They're
they're
gonna
always
have-
consistently good. And that's why
I
I say
know.
I have a feeling Kevin Feige was like, let's try something that's never been done before. We just have to start with this, and we'll throw this thing at the end that ties it into this other thing. We'll throw this thing. Oh, holy
And now-
shit, it's working!
And now everyone's doing it.
And everybody else is like, hey,
Even
you should do that too.
Even the monster movies are doing it. Is my point. So because of that, I will.
Well, the monster movies, the Godzilla movies, the Japanese Toho Godzilla movies kind of always did it.
I know, but now
They just didn't have a universe, they
I
just
know,
had
but
Godzilla.
I know, but in the here and now, I want to see him get moving. I'm impatient because I really like this movie. If they're listening, they should take this as a compliment. I'm impatient. I want them to move their asses on it because I want to see the next one now. Because this was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it
like I
was-
wouldn't say that about every single superhero movie we see.
No.
I can't
No.
say that about every Marvel movie. I can't say that about
No.
every DC movie. This movie
These
at
two,
least,
these two.
I don't know. I would say Godzilla 2014 was fun to watch.
I like Godzilla 2014 just because it was Godzilla again.
No, I would say, yeah, that's the one thing it definitely
There was
has going for it. But the rest of the movie has to be a movie because Godzilla is always taken very, very seriously. With one kind of exception, 98.
There was a time in
But-
my life where I was tall enough
but-
and I was in good enough shape. I was considering moving and trying to get a job as being Godzilla in the suit. Because that would be such a sweet job. What do you do?
I think you missed your
smash
calling.
model buildings
I think you missed your calling,
all
sir.
day long.
That would be your perfect
You,
job.
That would be
missed,
so
you
fucking
missed
fun.
your calling, sir. You missed it. You should do this. You should do this. We should get right on getting that rubber suit for you. Oh yeah.
I'm down to blow my savings on the suit and start shooting shit. I can build the city. It's not a
We
problem.
will do that. We're gonna do it at a Legos just for fun. We'll tie in that shared universe. Godzilla attacks a Lego universe. So yeah, essentially, Kong wins in the end, but he's kind of alone, I guess, on the island. He doesn't have anybody really to fight. Because as we explained,
Yeah, he killed.
he killed
unless they
he
do the egg
vanquished
thing.
the really bad monster.
Yeah, unless they do the egg thing because
And now we're not scared of Kong anymore.
They keep coming up from under the
Right,
ground.
I gotcha, but we're setting ourselves up for Godzilla versus
Yeah,
Kong.
yeah.
Okay, fine, I'm game. I can't see them killing off one or the other, so I think we're leading into another Batman v Superman situation.
Yeah, but
Where
it
it's gonna be
won't-
a
it-
massive battle,
it
and then
won't-
all of a sudden it's gonna end in a tie, like you said.
Well,
I think you're
see,
right. Which
I
is
think-
gonna be kind of anticlimactic.
I think what they might do
Alternate
is,
endings sound cool, but
Because
I don't know if they got the balls to
well,
do
see, I
it.
think because of the way they did it in Godzilla was there are all these things. Godzilla's like the pinnacle. Kong's been on his island. He's still growing.
Sure.
These other things will come up. Godzilla will come back. Kong will somehow get off the island. Kong and Godzilla will fight. They'll get attacked by these other things and kill them off, and they just wind up going their separate ways.
Probably.
That's my best guess.
Probably. I
So
can't
they don't actually have to have
be
a fight where
friends,
one of
yeah.
them wins. They're not friends. They're just they
Yeah.
both have this. They have
I
a
guess,
common enemy.
I
yeah.
guess, but it might turn into a confusing movie. Kind
It
of like,
could, yeah.
I don't know, Batman v Superman
Yeah.
turned into a kind of
Well, they did set it up in this where they have the Hollow Earth, so those other things could live underground and
Yeah.
pop up on Kong's
No, and they
island,
left
so
they left
Godzilla goes
themselves
there,
an
yeah.
opening
Yeah.
to have all kinds of Yeah, exactly. All kinds of...
They left that vent
Unspeakable.
open. It's not like the vent was closed.
Right, exactly. You're not going to close that. These things can and do come up, so you need something like Kong and Godzilla to show up and vanquish them.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for the next one. I hope it comes sooner than 3 years, but of course that's not going to happen.
There's plenty between now and then.
There is, but I would have no problems jumping in and super duper geeking out every year to one of these movies if they can crank them out fast enough. I have no problem doing that because that's what we're doing with superhero movies now. Like 3, 4, even 5 at a time in some cases.
Well, superhero movies, this year we got, I think, 6?
Exactly, something insane like that. So if they want to crank out a monster movie once a year, I'm good with that. I am damn good with that. Absolutely, keep bringing it. But, I mean, they introduced the 2 main ones, Godzilla and Kong.
Yeah.
So, you know...
They had a little hint of Mothra. I do kind of want...
We saw Mothra. Well, Godzilla's got to fight Mothra. You got to see Mothra at some point.
Yeah, they won't fight for long, though.
No, he's got to win. Godzilla's got to win.
Did you? And I brought this up. I brought this up when we talked about Godzilla. Did you see Godzilla Final Wars? You have to see that.
I think so. It was a while ago, though.
Fucking balls to the wall. Monster fights left and fucking right.
Well, right now I'm waiting to see more Kong because he
gets to play in the daylight, and you get to actually see what he's doing.
I really fucking enjoy that.
Yeah,
I like being able to see the monster I'm going to see. Like I said, they spent the money on the FX. Let's fucking see them. And all the other little monsters that are on the island, I love that.
Yeah, they were cool.
It just made everything
I wanted to see more of them, honestly.
Yeah,
I did want
that
to see
island
the ants. I wonder just how big they actually were.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. I wanted to see
an
the
entire
ants.
like Planet Earth episode about the life on Skull
Island.
Like,
I mean, I would say let's just do a movie called Skull Island, but we already kind of did.
Yeah,
we already kind of did.
But so I know you guys are deep into this, like how often you should monster movies come out thing.
Yeah.
But can we talk about a couple of specific moments in this movie?
Yeah, back to Target.
I wanted to jump into the things that I tried to get started earlier. Is that the three of us, especially I, was vocal about it many times about this movie.
No.
There was just things where I was just, I was constantly in between the two of you in the seats, just going, no. No way.
Yeah.
No. Brie
no
Larson would shoot a monster
gun.
Monster with a
And
flare
the
gun in the
flare
head.
would land in the monster's head and
From
explode.
from 200 yards away, she'd nail this thing with a fucking 1960s flare gun. 200 yards away, nail him in the head. His head explodes.
Well, his head didn't explode. It just
the flare kind of burned him up.
It burned his cheek and it distracted.
Right, and I just kind of looked at the screen and went, no, there's no way that would happen. No
But
chance
I think
in hell.
if we're going to talk about the most ridiculous moments
There was
in the movie,
there was a dozen
we
of
have
them.
to start.
Lighter. Please give me the stupid thing with the fucking lighter and the methane.
Well,
She throws the lighter effortlessly.
No.
Oh, the sword.
No.
The
we
sword.
have to
The
start
sword.
where they're running through the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're trying to escape the giant lizard
The
things.
sword.
And
Come on.
someone has inadvertently opened a bunch of toxic gas canisters.
Oh, Tom Hiddleston.
And Hiddleston wants to
hero
go
moment.
save Slycombe or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah.
And so he pulls on an old gas mask that he finds as
In
he's
slow
running
motion.
in slow motion.
In slow motion.
He turns to John C. Reilly, holds his hand out, says, "Sword."
Yeah.
John C.
Sword.
Reilly tosses him the
samurai
the
sword.
samurai
In
sword that he got
beautiful
from his
slow
friend.
motion.
In
Beautiful,
slow
all
motion.
slow motion.
Yeah.
Hiddleston perfectly catches the hilt in his hand.
Oh, absolutely. Not the
and
blade
goes
at all.
charging into this bizarrely
like a-
neon
like a haze
turquoise haze of toxic gas.
And he is
slicing these bird pterodactyls in half with their blue blood
All
flying.
still in slow motion.
All in slow motion
Yeah.
to go save this guy.
with spins and
Everybody,
flips. Yeah.
I don't know if everybody in the theater was
Spins and
laughing
flips.
because the three of us were all
we
laughing
were
so
howling,
hard that I couldn't
howling
hear whether or not other
Yeah,
people in the
yeah.
movie were
Howling
laughing.
laughing.
It was amazing.
It was
And
just
then they
a
do that.
no
do that inside the goggles shot.
Yes,
You're like, how the fuck is he doing this? He can't see shit.
Yes, they did inside the goggles shot. They were so into the inside the lens shots, and it's inside the goggles, inside the viewfinder of her camera, inside like the helicopter.
Everything was in slow-mo too.
Oh yeah, they really overused slow-mo. And then the other things that I found ridiculous, but in a fun way, were in the final fight between Kong and the big one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, Kong just turns into this MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Who like?
Well, he comes out of
headlocks,
he gets caught,
uppercuts.
He gets caught in the chain of a Spanish galleon that's been stranded on this island for 300 years.
Yeah.
He breaks free of the chain, and then he comes up behind the lizard and starts trying to choke the lizard with the chain.
Oh, wait, you forgot about how he comes out of the last time we saw him, he was unconscious. The lizards didn't eat him.
Oh,
he comes
yeah.
flying out of nowhere with a big ass rock and just hits it over the head.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and here comes Kong with a chair.
Yeah, exactly.
It
or
was
he picks up like
that wasn't MMA. That was WWF.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
He's
You're
tagging
right.
up all the
That's
ropes.
The
right.
chain gets stuck on like the rotor of another boat, and he uses that to cut into the lizard. He full on just gives the lizard an uppercut at one point,
with the propeller in his hand,
but also
slicing.
with Brie Larson safely held in his fist.
Brie Larson was in his fist
while he was fighting.
While his fist goes down the throat of one of these monsters.
You have to expect
out
it.
his intestines.
And then pulls out his she's still, and then all of a sudden
And
he
then
opens his fist,
and she's fine.
And she's fine. No concussion, no bruising,
you
no
half
no
expected him at
no
some
physical
point to do the
trauma.
Bruce Lee, bring it on.
Yes,
You half expected it.
Again, one of the dozen moments, as soon as he opens his palm.
That was another one where you went, no.
Like, no, I don't buy that for a second. There's no chance of it. But you know what? It's all forgiven. There was a stream of like
These
I said.
aren't criticisms, by the way.
No,
this is so much
These
fun.
are pointing out the moments that were
This is how much fun you're
over
going
the
to have.
top
with
and
happening.
fun, which
It
is
was
what these
ridiculous.
monster movies should be,
Absolutely,
in my opinion.
absolutely.
I don't want a monster movie that takes itself too seriously.
And that's what I think Godzilla 2014 did, and that's why I didn't really like it. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, it did.
Because
this one did
didn't
not take itself seriously.
No, and
Like
it benefited so much from
a lot of this movie.
I think there was an... Sorry, I'll let you finish.
There's a great scene in Godzilla Final Wars where Godzilla's fighting like some alien mecha Godzilla, and he like sprays him with his fire breath.
Yeah, I know,
and he like brushes it off, and then immediately like hits him in the face with his fucking tail. And that totally reminds me of this one. Like, holy shit, this is fantastic. Reminds me of I'm holding somebody in my hand. They're swallowing my hand. I'm gonna pull out their guts. Oh, she's fine, and there's nothing on her.
And there's nothing wrong with her.
And
she's totally fine.
Yeah. How did not all of her bones get broken?
Yeah.
How does she not have several concussions?
I think that the movie, and I don't know if this was like an abandoned plot line, or if they just didn't do as much with it as they originally intended, or something.
Mm-hmm.
The movie, I think, tried in places to make a commentary about war.
Yeah.
And I think the decision to set this at right after Nixon's decision to pull troops out of Vietnam was very carefully chosen. And Samuel L. Jackson's character was very much like when we first saw him with all of his men who are preparing to leave Vietnam, like he's clearly not happy that they're leaving.
They're happy, he's not.
When you see him get the call from John Goodman,
well, it's that one realization that nobody really thinks of is that at the end of that war, not everybody wanted to leave Vietnam.
And so
it's that one realization that we look back on in the history books and say, no, of course we all wanted to leave. Actually, no.
And so we have
not
a few
everybody
moments
in the country
movie
wanted that.
where like they try to make commentary on war.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously there's the metaphor of we come in and all of a sudden drop bombs on King Kong's house. No wonder he's going to be pissed off.
Yeah, they say that. Yeah.
And so then,
it's the guy with the AK-47.
Right. And
He
so
explains,
we
he's
turn
like, you
this-
know why I don't carry an M16 like all the other guys? I carry an AK-47. He says, because I picked it up off a farmer in Vietnam. And I found out that before we came, he wasn't about to pick up a gun. But only after we came, did he pick up a gun.
Yeah.
Showing that if we didn't show up, we wouldn't have radicalized him into
Well, and then
the soul.
he gives the moral, too. He says to John Goodman...
You start showing up
you know,
and dropping
sometimes-
bombs off of somebody.
No, he says sometimes there isn't an enemy, and something about like there
Until
isn't...
we create one.
And then,
Yeah.
There isn't an enemy until you create one. Yeah, that's what he's
which
saying.
was kind of like they like kind of hit the nail on the head when he's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself to this
Yeah.
creature, and the creature's like looking at him like,
And
why aren't
smack.
you running away from me? And just smacks him out of the way.
With his tail, too.
With his tail.
Explodes uselessly on a
Yeah,
cliff.
Yeah,
useless,
exactly. And so I actually liked that...
Yeah.
He doesn't sacrifice
this wasn't,
himself for shit.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a heavy-handed
Yeah.
moralism in
It
the
was a
movie.
little
they
bit of
touched
back
it.
and
It
forth.
was
They
addressed,
dripped
and,
it a few times,
and
and
like
that's it.
Samuel L. Jackson's character was clearly going off the deep end in terms of vengeance, and
Yeah.
like every other character, by the time Samuel L. Jackson died, every other character was like,
No, fuck
"No,
this.
dude,
Nah, we're done with
we
this.
gotta
chill
get out
out.
of here.
Like
Yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
go.
We're done with this. Like, we were all set to leave and then get the fuck
Like,
back
why do we
home.
have to blow up this giant
Can't we
Yeah,
just
I
go
will-
home?
gorilla? Like,
No, let's go home.
yeah.
Like, you had us when we thought we were searching for a
Right,
lost...
for our buddy Chapman, but now that we know he's dead,
Then let's just get the fuck
go.
out of here. Yeah, let's just get out of here.
Yeah, I
He's
will
not
have
coming
to
back.
say-
He's a skeleton. Let's get out of here.
I will have to say, I
Well,
made
and
it
so
a
then
point
his
of
claim
listening.
about this is not a war that I'm going to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
You turned to me and you rolled your eyes, and I'm like, oh, love.
Yeah.
There we
and then when
go.
they threw in that, when they threw in
Well,
the,
you know what he said? He's like, we didn't lose, we left. Because of because as far as, to this day, the Pentagon still has that opinion.
Yeah.
To this day.
Yeah.
Which is, we didn't lose, we left.
Yeah.
Because we left before we could lose.
They killed 58,000 of us, but we killed over 1 million of them.
Yeah.
We didn't
women and
lose.
children.
Yeah, exactly. But if the children pick up guns, they're soldiers, kill them. That's their viewpoint, which is like, we didn't lose, we left. So they held on to that with Samuel L. Jackson's character, who was like, we're not losing this war, we're leaving. We're
Now,
abandoning
did
this
you
war.
guys feel a little
they-
dip
but they
and a
said
little
it.
like
A little what?
a little dip and a little like, okay, let's just keep going when he said bitch please?
I don't remember that part.
I didn't mind it. I mean,
She like stood in front of Kong and he's
I-
like,
I
"Move,"
liked
and he's
it.
like, bitch please, and I'm like,
I liked it.
that's great to hear Samuel Jackson say
yeah.
that, but it doesn't fit in
Yeah,
this movie.
no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, well, no. Do I believe it came from another Samuel Jackson movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't fit in this movie.
Did I?
liked hearing
Did
it,
I?
but it just was
Did I still like the
so out of
line?
place. It-
No, I think it
Yeah.
was an afterthought. They called him back in and said, hey, "Can you just say something funny like
Yeah,
shut the fuck
yeah.
up or bitch please?" He's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I'll say bitch please." And you know what? I didn't mind it because I know what the hell she was gonna say.
Yeah.
She was the combat reporter. She's the only female.
Yeah.
Photographer.
Right, combat photographer.
Yeah.
She's the only female in the entire group. So
No.
No, there was the,
Oh yeah, there was
The
right.
Asian woman who's
Right.
part of Monarch.
Right,
There was the
exactly.
Asian- there
sorry,
was
sorry,
the Asian
sorry. The Asian
market
woman,
woman.
the Asian woman
Yeah,
who's part of
yeah.
Monarch. So meaning she's already got an ulterior
She
motive.
was the geologist.
Right,
Yeah,
so meaning
yeah.
she's already got her own little motive. But Brie Larson's character has the one who's been looking through the war
Right.
through a lens, and now looking at
Well,
this
and
through
then
a
there's
lens,
also-
comparing all these things, and is supposedly kind of giving us our little like moral center. So you know, when it comes down to like,
It's an oddly deeper
just before-
movie than you'd expect from
well,
a
just
monster movie.
Agreed.
well, like
Yeah.
we're coming up at the end of the second act. We know what's going to happen. She's going to give us this long moral diatribe about what we should be doing
She
and
doesn't.
what. And she was about to, because that's in that part in every
Yeah.
one of these movies. Right at the end of the second act,
Yeah.
she's supposed to calm everybody down, center everybody,
Yeah.
and make everything cohesive by giving us all our moral lecture.
But see, that's what
And
John
you know
C.
what?
Reilly's
She
character
started,
did.
yeah, but
Yeah.
she started
Yeah.
to. No, she started to,
Yeah.
and then Sam Jackson came and said, "Bitch, please," and shut
Yeah.
her up. And
Yeah.
you know what? All the more reason this movie did not take itself too seriously, and I appreciated
Yeah.
that so much because I've seen that character give that lecture.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Time
Yeah.
and time and time. I know it's coming. Thank God they just skipped it
Yeah.
because it was pointless.
Exactly.
In this movie, this is not a Vietnam movie that
No.
wasn't trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
No, and like they had that
gave
little
us
dialogue when her
they
character
gave us a
meets
little.
Samuel L. Jackson's character. Well, some
They
people
gave
could
us
say
a-
that photographers like you lost us the
Right,
war.
I know.
And,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
people could
Right,
say
but-
that your soldiers lost the war.
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
just scene over.
Right, but you know what? They gave us it in the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Let's move
Yeah,
on
exactly.
to the. Let's
Yeah,
move
it
on
was
to the
just- it
monsters.
was like-
and that was Sam Jackson's character saying, "Bitch, please, we're dealing with monsters."
Yeah.
Like, He didn't say with monsters.
Well, he wasn't even monsters. He was like, this thing killed my men.
Right, exactly. Like this is
I have
nothing.
to kill it. I don't care what else.
Like
is
I don't
going
care.
on.
Like we're not talking about this or morals or like I just clear revenge. Like bitch, please get on the page.
It had all these subtle touches on
but
little things.
I didn't want the moral lecture,
Yeah,
especially in this movie. It's a monster movie. I don't want the moral lecture, and we didn't get it. Thank God.
And we didn't need it because we got the explanation from John C. Reilly earlier of maybe you're like he looks scary, but he's actually the one protecting all of the people on this island from everything
My
else.
point is, what I loved about it is they teased us with it's coming, and then they promptly shut it down with a line of "bitch, please." I love that so much. I just do. Not in a sarcastic way. I was so happy to hear him just cut her off with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to hear this either. You're gonna suck all the fun out of this fun movie. What are you doing? Don't make this moral or ethical.
There's a lot of tropes.
It's a monster
in the
movie. Come on.
But they're not actual tropes. Like their character's a trope, but what they do isn't. Which was
As
really good.
TVtropes.org would say, they do a lot of lampshade hanging on tropes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which I like.
I did like the Nixon bobblehead though.
Yeah, me too.
Oh god, that was great.
When the helicopter's going down,
Yeah,
and
all kinds of shit's going on. Like
the Nixon, the Richard
we got to
Nixon
show the
bobblehead.
bobblehead. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, that was great.
I thought that was funny. It was cute. It gave you a good measure of how they were getting shooken up. And shit was going bad. Look at Nixon's head.
That was a good touch. Whoever,
I liked it. It was
whoever
subtle.
in the prop or scenery or writing department chose that.
I think DP. I think the DP did.
Well,
it's a very deliberate shot. Somebody had to sit down.
No, I'm just saying whoever chose to put that bobblehead on the dashboard.
Yeah. It's fun little shorthands to get things across really easily. Yeah.
Again, it made all these things came together. It made it so much fun to watch. It was so much fun.
I'll say this, and it's a direct quote from Red Letter Media. You didn't notice it, but your brain did.
Yeah.
And that's what makes
my brain noticed,
really fun.
and then I told me, the rest of me.
That's really cool.
The first 5 minutes of this movie is not shot in 24 frames a second.
Yeah.
Now you film nerds, I nudged you. Now you film nerds out there may notice that
the frame rate's
everything is sped up, and I think I know why. It's sped up. Almost like a kung fu movie is sped up in certain fight scenes. Yeah. It's sped up, but it's sped up during like dialogue when John Goodman is walking around and talking to other people about serious things, about what's happening in the island. Everything is shot in like 30 frames a second, and it looks like it's going a lot quicker than it actually is.
It's like a newsreel almost.
No, newsreel would be more choppy. That's more like Saving Private Ryan, where it's choppier. This was the opposite. This was more sped up. Like they shot it like in Japan in the 60s. And it was a kung fu movie almost.
I see.
Like, it's this very, very subtle thing. You film nerds out there like me, camera nerds, you'll notice this. It's only the first 5 minutes of the movie. The rest of the movie's fine. But like the first 5 minutes, it seems like somebody turned the camera onto the wrong setting by accident. Or if they did deliberate, they're trying to do some homage to the old monster movies the old Japanese cameras. Yeah, I think from like Godzilla movies, maybe. But whatever reason is, the film rate at the beginning of this movie for 5 minutes is completely off from the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and
it was a little off-putting. My brain mentioned it and told me about it, and I said, "Holy shit, look at that."
How fun was the opening of the movie where pilot crashes. Another pilot crashes.
Yeah.
Pulls out his gun, shoots, misses every time. It was like
the other
really good.
The other pilot shoots back and misses him.
And they're fighting they're trying to kill each other because that's the last thing they were doing.
Right.
And then
Kong,
an odd reality of a giant ape looms up and they're like, fuck. We don't need to fight anymore. We need to survive this now.
There was
together.
no long build-up. Yeah. They just gets right into it, which is exactly what this movie should do.
And then cut to awesome, like, newsreel, time is moving forward, opening credit sequence.
Yeah.
And then the reveal, 45 minutes later, that one of the characters we met in the first 5 minutes of the movie is still alive and has been on this island for 28 years.
Yeah.
That was
That was cool.
I like that.
I kind of didn't like that they killed off the other guy, but it was okay because that's
they killed
one
off a
too
bunch
many
of
people.
they killed off a bunch of celebrities in this too.
Yeah.
Half the celebrities
Yeah.
don't make it out of this
It
alive.
was
I love
it was
that.
kind of
Yeah.
nice. I hate to
love
say it was
that.
kind of nice seeing Sam Casson get crushed to
Yeah.
death by Kong.
I didn't
Yeah.
mind seeing John
fuck you
Goodman
right
get.
back,
I didn't
yeah.
mind seeing
Yeah.
John Goodman get crushed.
Well,
I-
he did have his lows like shit. And
Right.
Yeah.
then
What
the
better-
flash keeps going off inside of the fucking
Yeah.
monster.
And they
which
made
was
that-
oddly biologically accurate for something that lives underground.
Yeah,
Right,
but
yeah.
yeah, but not
So you could see through it
yeah,
all the
but
time?
not
Yeah.
mechanically accurate since it's a manual camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was holding the detonator. That was what was flashing.
Well,
No,
he was holding
it was
the
a camera.
Every time,
No, I
every
can
time
hear-
he got.
No, I can hear the
See,
camera charge.
I went.
No, he was
can't-
holding the detonator.
It was a flash.
No, he was holding the detonator because they had set up all the charges around Kong.
Oh wait, no, we're in two different parts of the movie.
Yeah, I'm talking about when the
When
camera
John
gets in.
Goodman, when John Goodman had.
Oh, you're
his
talking
flash-
about Goodman. I was
Goodman.
talking about.
Yeah,
No, not
when
Sam
he had-
Jackson.
Oh, I was talking about
Yeah.
Sam
No,
Jackson.
when that monster's
Oh,
When he gets the flash working on his camera,
On
it's like,
his
oh
camera.
shit, and it eats
Right,
him, and
right,
it keeps
right,
going
and
off.
the camera, the
Well,
flash
that works
just
for
keeps
me.
going off and off. I'm like, that wouldn't do that. No.
That works
No.
for me because.
But you know what? It's a cool effect, and I'm gonna go with it. I
So
don't give
this
a
is
shit.
why that worked for me because he was still holding onto the camera every time his dead body got jostled around inside of it. He was still holding it. So fingers and shit.
But I take your point
Yeah.
that
But I
yes,
loved it
it
anyway.
emphasized the fact that this is a creature that lives underground
Yeah,
and is
yeah.
therefore kind of transparent,
Translucent,
translucent.
Yeah, there's no need for him to have color or pigmentation.
Yeah.
Or,
in his
or any
skin.
melanin, yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
I joked about it. Rather
They-
like, no.
these
but
bad-
after about 5 seconds, I
These
couldn't
bad
care
guy
less.
lizard monsters were sufficiently scary
Scared
for
the
me.
shit out of you.
Yeah.
You like you said, you leapt out of that chair.
But because you look at him, you're like, how would it work with just a tail? And you're like, oh, the tail was a lot of
that's
shit.
how-
Oh, it was
Yeah,
a
it was
prehensile
really
tail,
cool,
yeah.
That's I don't know, what else can you say? I fucking love seeing this. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, what else can we say? Really. I mean,
I don't know.
We can say what we should say, which is go see this movie.
go see this
Yeah, go
So
movie.
see it.
more movies like
It's
this
so
will
worth
get
it.
made. It was great.
Definitely see Logan because that's playing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as soon as Logan gets out, don't go right to the exit of the theater. Turn around and then see which other theater is showing Kong and sneak into that theater.
Yeah.
No, but see it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, you should also probably buy a ticket. Though.
although oddly enough, last night I didn't need to buy a ticket.
Okay. I was kidding
Oh,
around.
yeah. When
Yeah, I
guy
like bought
walked
my
into the
ticket. I
theater,
walked in and
the
I'm like,
ticket taker
the
was
ticket
not
taker
there.
like walked away as I was walking. And I was like,
Yeah, you lucked out.
I gotta look back on the memory.
Go back and
It's
say,
cool.
hey, I missed it the first time.
Yeah,
Can I go back
yeah.
and see it?
No, it was good.
Uh,
See, I look at that as like all the times I was like when we hit up after
after
Fucking
Underworld, we went into
Underworld.
Rogue One.
after
Had a cleansed palate. Underworld was
Yeah.
so garbage. We had
After-
snuck right into
yeah,
Rogue One,
and-
and we snuck in right at the Hammerhead Corvette scene.
yeah.
couldn't be better.
And after I saw Great Wall, I went into Batman versus Superman again. I was
Yeah.
like, fucking no, Lego Batman.
Lego Batman,
I
because
walked in,
yeah,
I
that
was
wasn't
like,
playing
yeah, fuck
that.
this, yeah.
Yeah, because come on, Great Wall.
It was
Whatever. Don't forget Great Wall. Go see
Anyway.
Kong. Go see Kong instead of Great Wall.
Yes,
Forget-
go see Kong.
Go see Kong.
It's
So
fun.
it's so much fucking fun. Buy a big, extra large tub of popcorn because
Yeah.
this is an ultimate. This is the popcorn movie of this year so far.
Yeah.
It might be of the entire movie because I don't know any other movies that are going to be like this for the rest of the year. So I think for 2017, we may have seen the best popcorn movie, which
Yeah.
is basically just sit back,
Yeah.
have fun. Just have fucking fun with it.
Yeah.
Just you don't have to read into fucking really anything. You can if you want to, but honestly, there's gonna be goofy parts. Just you're gonna go with it.
yeah. It's just
fun.
fun.
It's just too much fun to ignore.
It's just fun.
yeah, you're not gonna pick it apart. It's just
Because
too much fun.
literally in the first 5 minutes, you're like, holy shit, there's, and
yeah,
we're not under any contractual obligation. There's fucking King Kong. Right in your
well,
fucking
there's-
face. Watching you two
Yeah.
little piddly assholes try to kill each
Yeah.
other. There's fucking King
exactly.
Kong. Oh,
They don't
Maybe
skip
they're-
a beat. They get right to the point.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
Kong. Okay, now let's jump back to the real world, and we'll
Yeah.
show you where all these people that
Yeah.
Kong's about to meet and face and kill and whatever. we're gonna see all those people
And
come together.
I
and
will
then
have to say,
get to
because
him.
we do a lot of Marvel movies.
We do a lot of Marvel movies.
superhero movies
A lot of
that
superhero movies.
skip past the credits.
Yeah.
The credits were actually slightly enjoyable.
Yeah.
They weren't an annoyance.
They did John C. Reilly.
It was kind of like
He finally gets
let's take a breath after what we just saw. That was fantastic, and let's get back into it. Yeah, it was. Cool.
And then stay for the end credit scene,
which we
didn't.
No, but we will on the second time because I didn't think this was gonna be a franchise movie, but apparently it is. So on the second viewing, we will
I have
watch
to
the end
honestly
credit
say I
scene.
let it go from all your bitching for just another 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm never letting it go again. I'm never letting it go again.
What?
We're staying till there's nothing on the screen.
If it's a
no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the movie is because it's 5 or 10 minutes.
Anyway, go see Kong. It is so much fun.
Yeah, go
you
see
will
it.
Enjoy it. Remember, do not take it seriously, and it will pay you back tenfold.
Bring everybody you possibly can. 'Cause
Big
it's just
popcorn.
fun. Yeah, it's
extra
just
butter.
fun, yeah,
lots of sugar. Totally worth it.
Whatever your favorite movie snack is,
Yes.
throw some Reese's Pieces into that tub of popcorn.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
and I will say you can talk all the shit you want because you're just watching.
Yeah.
And it's just fun.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Feel free to laugh. There's plenty of funny parts.
I would not be upset if I got kicked out of a theater watching this movie talking shit about it. I just wouldn't. I'd be
I
like,
half
dude,
expected
you're
us to
missing
get
out.
yelled
You're
at,
missing
but-
out.
Yeah. They'd have to pry me out of that seat. It was having too
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
heckling it was just too much fun.
Oh yeah, so much fun.
But yeah, so go see it.
And on that note,
Back to your cat videos.
back to the cat videos.
Have a good night, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Until
Thanks for
next
watching
time.
us. Yeah.